What if I was a reason someone rises up and saves the world?
Morning, everybody. We're going to get started here shortly.
How
Listen to some music as
selfish
the room builds.
would I be then?
If you could, please try and ping people. We're looking for
Let these fears run my soul.
aspiring filmmakers, film producers, screenwriters, anyone who might be
What
interested
if I follow
in down the screenplay.
the dreams inside?
Good morning, everybody.
I could be the reason somebody decide to really live a life worth living, to really give a gift worth giving, to really live a life worth living, to really give a gift worth giving. What if you were the reason someone rises up and saves the world? How selfish would you be then to let those fears run your soul? What if you follow the dreams inside? You could be the reason somebody decide to really live a life worth living, to really give a gift worth giving, to really live a life worth living, to really give a gift worth giving, to really live a life worth living, to really give a gift worth giving, to really live life worth living.
Good morning, everybody. We're going to get started here shortly. As always, please continue to ping in as many people as possible today. We're going to be using transmedia again today. So if you go to the link tree in my profile and in my Instagram profile, you can go down to the link that says Fun with Filmmakers, and that'll take you to either our Facebook page, and then there's also a Fun with Filmmakers Twitch. So when we go live, I'm going to be broadcasting from my laptop here, and you can see what we're doing as we go through tagging the elements in a screenplay. Again, please continue to ping people in. We're looking for aspiring filmmakers, line producers, UPMs, anyone, first ADs, anyone who's interested in production, what it takes to take a screenplay from written form and turning it into something on screen. Thank you all very much. We're going to continue to listen to some music here as the room builds, and then we'll get started here shortly. The actual broadcast itself, we're going to do the physical demonstration probably around 11 a.m., maybe a little later. But we're going to discuss just lining the screenplay and what it looks like and what you're going to be looking for. But in the meantime, please continue to ping people. Good morning, everybody.
It's been a while since I felt so free. It's been a minute since this happened to me. All this pent up energy has got to go somewhere. Like the stoic ladies in waiting, bursting through like some old painting. What's all this misbehaving? Don't mind me, I'm renaissancing. My pocket flowers have long since died. Nothing can stop it now, it's time. The gauntlet's down and so am I. I've got to go somewhere. Like the stoic ladies in waiting, bursting through like some old painting. What's all this misbehaving? Don't mind me, I'm renaissancing. Really am. Watch you go. I'll be the me. Don't mind me, I'm renaissancing. If you need me, I'll be dancing. Take my hand, let's kiss with bronzing. And don't mind me, I'm renaissancing. Wounded, fallen, saw dark ages, plague swept through with no assuages. The time has come to turn the pages. We've got to go somewhere. Like the stoic ladies in waiting, bursting through like some old painting. What's all this misbehaving? Don't mind me, I'm renaissancing. Really am. Watch you go. I'll be the me. Don't mind me, I'm renaissancing. If you need me, I'll be dancing. Take my hand, let's kiss with bronzing. And don't mind me, I'm renaissancing. Don't mind me, I'm renaissancing. If you need me, I'll be dancing. Take my hand, let's kiss with bronzing. And don't mind me, I'm renaissancing. I'm renaissancing. I'm renaissancing. I'm renaissancing. I'm renaissancing.
Alrighty, good morning, everybody. My name is Noah. This is my room that I run every Friday. Fun with Filmmakers on Fridays. The room is all about betterment in the film and TV community. I started it after, hearing a little misinformation spread on Clubhouse, and so I wanted to dedicate a room that was specifically for betterment in the film and TV community. And then we would just pick a topic every Friday and then build a mod panel of subject matter experts around that topic and discuss it and break it down. The room has nothing to do with arguing over which way is right when it comes to production. There's always 1,000 different ways to do things, and we debate friendly from time to time on here. But it's all about, hey, this is how we do it. This is the benefits we get from that. And, it's less about arguing over who's right and who's wrong and more about this is how we do it. So for today, we are going to do our introductions. Again, I don't want to start the visual demonstration until around 11 a.m. So we're just going to discuss like the process of lining a screenplay and the elements that you should be looking for until that time, and then we'll go in and do the actual visual demonstration. For those of you who weren't here for my subtext class, the way we do the transmedia, if you go to my Instagram profile and then go to the link tree in my profile, you'll see 3 areas that you can watch the broadcast. One is our Fun with Filmmakers Instagram account, which is kind of annoying because we can only do 5-minute broadcasts at a time and I have to renew it. But if you go to the Fun with Filmmakers Twitch or the Fun with Filmmakers Facebook page, we're broadcasting live right now, and that'll go through until we get to the actual demonstration. For the icebreaker today, I want the mods to introduce themselves, talk about their background, where they come from, and for the icebreaker question, I want you to think about if you could unite 2 characters from any world for one singular adventure, what would it be? And for example, I've always wanted to somehow get Batman and Sherlock Holmes into the same story. I think they're 2 really great detectives. I think it'd be a great storyline to like somehow get the Joker into London, and then have him cause a conundrum, and then the only way they can solve the problem is to have Sherlock and Batman join together to solve the mystery, if you will. It looks like Sam is on the phone. We are going to go in PTR order. So we'll start with Emily. If you could just introduce yourself and again answer the icebreaker question. The last song I was playing, just so everyone knows, is my good friend Edward Miskey, who's now on stage. Edward the First is his album. That single just dropped. Hey, Ed.
I know. I'm waiting for this music video to upload because we're dropping it today, and Emily texted me and was like, "Get into Noah's room right now."
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. It's going to be the next biggest TikTok challenge, is renaissancing, just like surprising people with wigs. It'll be great.
I need to figure out what the challenge is. If you have any ideas, let me know.
No problem. No problem. Emily.
Hi, guys. Man, that icebreaker, Noah. I don't even know what to say. I'm a New York-based and New Orleans-based actor, singer, and voiceover artist who has also been dabbling in writing. And I'm working on developing a series about living with autoimmune disorders. But it's a comedy, I promise. Other than that, I adore Noah, and I adore the information that he shares, that you guys all share each week. It's always awe-inspiring. I never leave this room without learning at least 5 new things. So I'm really excited to be a part of this room today and share. And I'm also stalling because I don't even know what to say for that icebreaker. That's such a huge option. Can I come back to that?
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Okay. Noah, can you repeat the icebreaker question?
Yes, sure. So if you, in an ideal world where like IP rights don't exist, if you could just unite 2 characters from 2 different worlds, they can be books, movies, television series. If you wanted to bring 2 characters together for some reason, what 2 characters would you love to see in like the same project? And like my example was, I've always wanted to see Batman and Sherlock Holmes have to team up to solve a mystery. But yeah, that's the icebreaker question today for the mod interest.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure it was as impossible to think of as it originally sounded like. And yes. Okay. No, it is. It totally is. But I have one that's kind of ridiculous. I want to see a show with Ted Lasso and the Joker. I want the 2 of them to team up because I just feel like Ted Lasso's questions would annoy the hell out of the Joker, and I feel like that'd be very fun to watch. So that's my answer.
That's fantastic. I'm going to turn the hand raising off, guys. We will start the Q&A session towards the end of the session today. JP?
Hello, everyone. Great question. Great question, by the way. I'm JP. On a loud street. I apologize. Is there any background noise distracting you?
No, you're good, man.
Cool. So about what Noah said about people not being wrong. He was wrong about that. I'm right about everything. You should listen to only what I say in this room. No, I'm kidding. No, there's 200 ways to do what we're about to talk to tonight or this afternoon, this morning, wherever you are. I'm a producer based in Los Angeles, and I came up through the AD world. So this is a topic I care about a lot because I see it done incorrectly at the independent level all the time, even on my own movies. And I spend a lot of time and effort correcting other people's work and trying to guide people, especially first-time directors and first-time screenwriters into, some structure of what we're about to talk to today. Anyway, now to fun stuff. I'm going to give you a Jim Carrey double feature. I'm going to do Jim Carrey from The Mask. Teams up with Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik from the Sonic movie. And they try to destroy the world together. And it's a buddy comedy. It's JP, I'm done speaking.
Oh, that's great. That's great. The lovely Lisa. Lisa is the master of multitasking.
Go ahead, baby. What were you going to say? What wonderful thing were you going to say?
I said Lisa is the master of multitasking. I thought perhaps you were on a call.
No, I'm meeting people IRL today, and I was checking the address and trying to see what the weather would be in the valley today. So I apologize. I was on another screen. And this is such a hard question, Noah. You couldn't give a girl a heads up. By the way, I'm going to ask you something you may or may not have an answer to. Maybe, for those of you who know me, maybe give me some Google time, okay?
Yeah, I'll start putting the icebreaker in a calendar, so mods can start thinking.
I'm trying to think what would I want, like the Black Panther and Shaft? I don't know. I don't know what I want.
That's good. That's good. I like that. Yeah.
You like that one? Okay. I'll give you that. That'll be mine. There you go. Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa Lindo, and I am a manager of literary clients and a producer. And I am the vice president of the Milan International Film Festival. I love Noah's Rooms. These are so great. So if you're down below and you haven't already taken advantage of hitting that plus sign, inviting some friends in, now is the time. Because these conversations on Fridays are always worth me taking time out of my work day to be here with Noah and these other wonderful people on stage. JP is brilliant, and Sam is fantastic, and Jess is great, and Aaron and Rihanna and Sam, who I've known forever. And this is just a great stage, and the conversation is just going to get better and better.
What's that? Okay. What time? Maybe. Okay. I'll just go around.
You type in their bio, come up, and so you can just invite them, and then maybe make sure you invite all the people that I get. So I am Lisa Lindo. I'm dropping the mic, and I'm backing away slowly and going back, and we'll take it again.
What kind of famous person are you having lunch with today, Lisa Lindo?
Today I'm having lunch with JP Ouellette and Michael Yetbaum, executive producer day. It's executive producers only. That's the lunch.
I guess I'm chopped liver, but that's cool. Jess.
In a room. Okay, dude, we're at Jinkies at noon. Okay, bye.
Jinkies at noon. Aaron, Jess is on the phone. Can you hop up for me?
Hello. I'm here. My name is Aaron Vasquez. I'm a writer-director. Sometimes I produce, and I do a lot of graphic design, pitch deck stuff. So my characters I'd like to unite would be Indiana Jones and James Bond.
Oh, that's great. That's great. A man of adventure and the man of spy toys. I love it. I love it. Bops.
Hello. I am Brianna Oppenheimer. I am an actress, writer, singer, producer. I love Noah. He's a wonderful person, and I love this room. And the two characters that I would unite, I've had a few moments to think about this, which is nice. would be Harley Quinn and Luna Lovegood from Harry Potter. I just feel like that would be interesting.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love that.
Yes.
Edward's multitasking. Gene.
I'm here. I'm so sorry.
There you go.
I'm doing a ton of things. What was the prompt again? I'm so sorry.
Just your intro, and then the icebreaker question today is if you could unite two characters from any IP for one singular project, who would they be?
LOL. Okay. Hi everyone. I'm Edward. I'm an actor and singer, producer based out of New York City. All that info is in my bio, so if you want to go there, follow me on the socials. Like Noah said in his lovely intro, that song was mine, and the rest of the album is dropping throughout the course of the summer. We're doing one single every Friday for the rest of the summer, starting next week. This week is my music video, which is about to go up in a few hours. I just have to tack on the rolling credits, and we're good to go. So please keep an eye out for all of that. It's very exciting and gorgeous, and I'm very excited about it. My two people. Julia Sugarbaker from Designing Women, always a default. I want to see her in all the things. And even though she's dead, R.I.P. And I would like to see her with you know what? I'd really love to see her go head to head with John Hamm's character in Mad Men.
Love it. Love it.
And in a perfect world. Anyway, I'm Edward, and I'm done speaking. Thank you.
Gene.
Hello, Noah. Thank you guys for having me on stage. Lisa picked me up here, so I'm just happy to be here. And I see Brianna's in here. Brianna got me onto Clubhouse. She got me onto this fabulous app. So I just want to say hi, Brianna. I'm a filmmaker out of New England, and used to work at ESPN for years as a video editor. I played in the Nickel Fellowship, all that jazz. Let me see. Characters I'd like to combine. I'm watching a lot of Marvel Disney Plus shows recently, so I kind of like to see what Loki and Scarlet Witch would be like combined. That'd be an interesting character.
That would be cool. That would be cool. Good day, Sean, or good afternoon, Sean.
Evening or night. It's almost 8 o'clock at night where I am.
For the icebreaker question today, I don't know if you heard.
I heard it.
Okay, cool.
I'll actually start with that before I do my spiel or whatever. I would like to have Roman Roy from Succession enter the Marvel Universe, and I'd like to see how the Avengers handle somebody like him. It would definitely be an R-rated Marvel movie. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me, Noah, and hello to some of my favorite people in here. I am an independent film producer as well as a writer and director. I am embarking into the world of podcasting. You can follow our tiny little Twitter right now. It's @PodCharacter. We're going to have a show in which we are speaking to actors about the craft and about some of the roles that have really hit us as viewers. These would be mostly character actors, supporting actors, and things like that. But we're really excited about it. We've already recorded 5. Not going to tell anybody who the guests are, but we've got some amazing people, including an Oscar winner and an Emmy winner and other people like that. So happy to be here, and thanks again.
Thanks for being here, buddy. Sam, are you back with us?
I'm back. I was on the phone. Sean, I want to be a part of your podcast. My name is Sam. I am an actress, writer, and producer, and I love this icebreaker. So I'm just going to go with the first thing that popped in my mind because now I can't get it out of my mind. I would love to see Tony Montana with the Queen of England from The Crown.
That's amazing.
So sweet, toe to toe.
Which queen?
Queen Elizabeth, the current reigning queen, but I'm thinking the character from The Crown, like how she is played in the series The Crown, with Tony Montana, the two of them toe to toe. Wouldn't that be beautiful? So good.
Definitely be a crazy time, but I would love to be a fly on the wall for that.
It would just be
As
so
long as
much
you call-
tension and conflict.
As long as he called the queen a cockroach, then I would be happy.
You fit like cockroach.
Say hello to my little crumpet.
Awesome. Yes, and okay. Let me jump into business stuff before we get started. The room today is brought to you by Boca Rentals. Boca is based in West LA. They're your premium production equipment rental house, servicing the LA County area and cities all over the United States. Boca is one of the greatest rental houses and the one I use for all of my production needs west of Texas. Boca takes pride in the reputation they have built with their clients. Please read their over 400 plus reviews. Please use the offer code FUNFILM for 10% off your next G&E or camera package rental and tell them I sent you. We're also brought to you today by Film Tools. Film Tools is Hollywood's source for motion picture and digital video equipment, including grip and lighting equipment to expendables. I personally use them constantly for production supplies. Film Tools is the go-to destination for creatives looking to source production equipment such as camera support, lighting, studio carts, grip, electrical, recordable media, hard drives, and memory card storage, audio equipment, and on-set expendables. They love what they do, and they are a passionate company built by filmmakers, photographers, educators, animators, developers, and creative doers that love to share our experiences to help their customers achieving their goals. Please go to filmtools.com/fun-with-filmmakers and use the offer code FUNFILM for 10% off your order. We're also brought to you by Canacity. Canacity is a line of high-end fashionable streetwear and accessories that feature commissioned images, all focusing on one subject, the feminine spirit. I love them because they help out artists with relief funds with portions of the proceeds from the entire streetwear line, with just contributing to the new reality. If we have to cover part of our faces, we might as well look sexy while we do it. Again, use the offer code FUNFILM for 20% off your order for amazing wearable street art. Lisa, did I get that right? And she's multitasking again. That's cool.
You did. You're perfect in every way. Although it's interesting that now that more of us are not wearing masks, we're definitely leaning into the clothing line more. And our T-shirts are getting out there, and some of you have gotten them, which is really, really exciting because you're some of the very first to be wearing, like, literally beta pieces for some of the art. So thank you for being so supportive. And everybody definitely check out the canacity.com or at the _Canacity on Instagram.
Hey, Maura, do you want to give your introduction? And our icebreaker question today is, if you could bring together two characters from different worlds, what two characters would you like to do that for a single project? And my example was, I've always wanted to see Batman have to team up with Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's a question I have to think about. But hi, everyone. I am Maura. I am a writer, director, and I work in finance at Shondaland. And I'm getting ready to shoot my short film on July 10th and 11th. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm still just thinking about your question. God, I don't know. That's a hard one. I'll have to think about it some more. Yeah.
Sure, no problem. And if you come up with one, just unmute. Let us know.
Okay, great.
Okay, so let's get the conversation started. Like I said, we'll jump into the visual side of it here shortly. And for everyone in the room, the broadcast is going to be live on our Facebook page, our Twitch, and That's it. I'm not going to do Instagram because it's super aggravating for me until I can afford a producer on this platform. But yeah, if you go to my Instagram account and then go to the link tree, in the link tree, you'll see the Fun with Filmmakers Facebook page, as well as our Twitch account, which we're broadcasting live on now. And that's where you'll see the visuals for what we're about to do. So, you know, when you're breaking down a screenplay, once it's been, you know, somewhat greenlit, whether a production company or a producer has chosen a script to put into production, the first thing that needs to happen is that all of the scenes need to be numbered, and they need to be numbered in a way that is thinking of production. Okay, so let's say you have 2 slug lines that take place in the same flow of action, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a follow to. It doesn't necessarily have to be a steady. But if they're the same flow of action, the same scene, they're just 2 different places, so they're 2 different slug lines, then you don't want to separate those by number. It's not the end of the world if you do, but when I'm converting an FDX file into a shooting script, I always go through my scenes and make sure if there are continuations that they're either an A and a B scene for the same number. That way, all the way through to post-production, we're all talking about the same scenes when we're using the nomenclature. I do that in Final Draft, and then the old school way, you know, using color pencils and markers and highlighters, we would go through the script in physical page form and highlight our elements. Today, we use Final Draft to do it. We go through and tag our elements in Final Draft. But I think it's still important, especially for those who are just getting started, to you know, physically go through a printed screenplay and just pick a scene or a page like we're going to later today, and look for all of the elements that are important to production. And think about your department heads. Think about the departments themselves. Who's going to be looking for what? There are going to be certain elements that could possibly be in multiple different departments. And what I normally do is tag them all for each of the departments. And then when we have our first production meeting, that's when we discuss what department's going to take what. Because sometimes there will be overlap, which is fine. Sometimes, you know, the art department and set design and greenery are all taking care of the same problem, but actually greenery is just going to get it done. So as long as that is the same understanding across the board, we're good. But that's you know, that's the old school version of that. And I think before we jump into the broadcast, let's just popcorn style discuss the elements that are most missed. I think would be an important thing. A lot of times they're not exactly as apparent as, you know, a prop. You know, we see that an actor grabs a gun, we know that we're going to need a handgun. But that one tag is going to trigger a domino effect of other elements that we have to incorporate. Now we have to have an armor on set. We have to have, you know, a clearance for that handgun. And we have to make sure that both the production insurance and any of the other overhead departments know what's happening for that set. But we can popcorn style, let's go around the room and just openly discuss elements and problems that we normally see, things that are missed. And this what we're talking about is super important, even if it's a short film indie. You want to make sure that you know everything that it's going to take to get those scenes done, and then you can start making triage decisions as far as, you know, what we can't afford and things of that nature. But let's go around the room. And I know we got a couple more mods who just joined us, and we'll introduce them here in a little bit. But any other mods want to chime in for elements that are often missed?
Yeah, hey, this is Jess. One of the things that I see missed a lot, like something to really be cognizant of, is if somebody, like a character's in a scene, but it's just not explicitly said, especially if it's children.
Yeah.
Because that's where I see it overlooked so often, is when there's a kid and it's not stated, but hey, if you follow that storyline, that kid is still there. Or if it's a baby and it's like, yeah, there's a big, like, it's not explicitly stated, but it's supposed to be there. And like even last year was on a set where the kid, one of the leads, there's this kid, but he was an autistic boy who didn't speak. So even more so, like, he didn't have dialogue. And he was told he was done for the day early on. Turns out he had to stay there until the very end of the day because the scene that we were shooting that day had his character in it. So I had to go to his mom and be like, hey, so he has to stay, and then calm him down after his tantrum and that whole thing. So yeah, make sure that the cast members, even if it's not explicitly said, are there in your breakdown.
Absolutely. And that element you'll see when we get into our example today are called non-speaking characters. Non-speaking characters get passed over a lot. Sometimes background isn't accounted for. You know, you'll hear things that are discussed, and it's just like in the script it'll say a group of people, and then you singularly tag group of people, but that each one of those persons is an element. Each one of those persons is someone who's going to have to be called and accounted for on set. And talk about a domino effect causing element. Children, good gosh, you know, if a child actor is called for more than 3 consecutive days, according to SAG rules, you have to have a set teacher. Hey Noah, what about if it's a weekend? Even if it's a weekend, if it is a weekend shoot, and I just got through producing a film for Jason Gervitz, and we had a minor who was on set for a 3rd day and had to bring out a set teacher on a weekend. Those weekend set teachers, they're called welfare because they're not necessarily teaching, even if they're not in session. Like if it's a summer shoot, you still have to have welfare, which is the child teachers. There's a reason that, like, you know, the old fable line producing rules, never work with kids, never work with animals. It's just because the domino effect of things that have to happen once they're brought onto set. Anyone else commonly missed elements?
I was just thinking of that. No, Jess, was that non-union? Because
it was union. It was SAG.
Wow, because I know that there's a time limit. Like, you know, after a certain amount of hours, the kid has to go home, and that's just it.
Yeah, you get this, Steve, down at the bottom. You get into a world of trouble, of course, if you keep a child past that time, or if you even encourage or put any sort of psychological pressure on either the child or the guardian to work excessive hours. So it's best not done, and you just have to accept that they gotta go, which is why we usually like to work with twins, because one child can go and can be replaced by the other one. Just going to Noah's, hi Noah and everyone. Just going back to the that original question, things that you missed. It's the things that aren't scripted that are essential, that sometimes when you're on a low budget or a tight schedule, you overlook. I remember doing a scene with Samantha Morton in a kitchen, and it was a big argument, and she went to open the drawers. And she did, and there was nothing inside the drawers, forks and knives and plates and all that sort of thing, which would have been appropriate for her character. So the trick and the dynamism of it all between producer, director, props and the art department is trying to anticipate not only what's in the script, which is easier, you do a breakdown, and we talk about that later, but then also what might be needed when you create that mise en scène, the camera points in a position that you hadn't imagined or has a detail in it that should be there, would be there in the ordinary natural world, but wasn't there because you didn't specifically ask possibly an unimaginative props or person or set dresser to put it there. So, plates and drawers and all those sorts of things. It's better to overdress than to underdress. And the other thing is, of course, options, because when you have the money, and sometimes we don't, but when we do, sometimes an actor finds that they like props to help them get into a role. So when you've got a watch, it may not be the watch they feel is appropriate for the character. So if the props person is a good one, they can show them several different ones. It seems a small detail, but it makes a huge difference to an actor when they feel they can really get into the character. So there's a lot more we can talk about, but for me, it's the things that are unscripted that make such a difference. That's why you hire top crews who think of these things on our behalf. It's Steve, I'm done speaking.
Absolutely, yeah. You need the best department heads possible, because especially on lower budget indies, because we're already stretching every penny possible. But for those elements that aren't, as we said earlier, specifically stated, you just need someone who is well versed in that arena and is going to bring those to your attention. Hopefully, as the producer, the UPM, the line producer, you are covering your bases. But we're all fallible, and we all need people who are of a high enough caliber that are going to check back with you, like, hey, we got you got this silverware drawer, but you didn't call for any actual silverware. Do we need silverware? And that's just a random thing I thought of. But like, there's oftentimes are going to be things of that nature that are going to be missed because, as Steven said, it's not specifically stated, but it's implied. But we always got to cover our bases. Maura?
Yeah, I was just going to say I completely agree with that. And I consider myself detail oriented, but I realized through this whole process, how easy it is for things to get missed. Similarly, we found an incredible motel location, and it had a phone booth by the room. So I'm like, oh my gosh, instead of the character taking the call in the room, she could take it in the phone booth. It looks so nice and vintage 90s, which is when the film is shot. And then I went to the location and everything, and it was great. And it wasn't until a couple weeks later when I was looking at the videos I took of the location that I saw there was no phone in the phone booth. And I was like, oh my God, that would have been missed, So that's something that now I have to order a phone that we can kind of paste in the phone booth, So yeah.
Absolutely. There are, like I said, it's those elements that cause a domino effect of, other elements that need to be implied. I do want to jump into the visual demonstration here, and then we'll come back to continue talking about this. JP, did you have something you wanted to add real quick, or were you just clapping?
Yeah, no, I was just going to add to something Jess sparked with, elements that aren't there. I also, when you're creating a schedule, all the actors get numbers, but I get the background elements, especially if it's Noah's, groomsmen, that are always there in every scene, but they're only scripted once or twice. I'll make Noah's groomsmen and put an A instead of a number, and they'll actually be an A through Z list of background. So when you're looking through the schedule, you know that number one, Noah's working, and then A, his three bachelors dudes are working, and that's, you can see that even looking ahead way down the line. So that's just another trick I do in movie magic, which we're going to talk about soon.
I love the idea of Noah being number one on any call sheet, but it's cool.
You're number one. You're number one in my heart and my call sheet, baby.
Yeah, and it affects everything, because I'm in the rest of my life, I'm really laid back and not all that organized. But then when it comes to film, I work with the same first AD for the past 7 projects. And she's like, I love how organized and prepared for everything you are. And I was like, if my mom heard you say that, and the labeling is super important too, when you pull it out of the programs, because it's going to affect every department, whether it's call sheets, whether it's the props table, where everything's taped off and labeled for each character. Radios, as you assign radios to crew. It's kind of a sore subject from this past shoot, but yeah, making sure they get turned back in, everything like that. It all comes down to where everyone is situated. Okay, so we are going to switch over to the visual demonstration here. So again, if everyone can go to the link tree in my Instagram, and I'm going to do this as I'm talking to make sure I'm giving the instructions correctly. So if you go to the link tree in my Instagram, and then go down to the first Fun Film, above Fun Film Insta, that will route you to our Facebook page where we're broadcasting live now. And that's where I'm going to present the visual demonstration for how to tag and how to, pull out the breakdown and create the budget and schedule from that demonstration. And then when we get into the reading portion for the readers, I'm going to ask that you all either mute your the device that you're looking at the broadcast for, and or turn it off for the portion, because there's going to be a delay. And what happened last time is we just had a reverb situation. So actors, if you'll unmute when it comes your time to speak, but I'm going to ask everyone to stay muted until we're done with the demonstration. Also, mods, if you could do me a favor, click those 3 dots in the top right-hand corner, go down to your audio quality and change it to high, especially the actors, but I'd appreciate it if everyone would. And then before we move over to the demonstration, because I want to give time for everyone to find our Facebook page where we're broadcasting, I want the new mods to introduce themselves. If you could do your normal quick spiel, and then the icebreaker question today, which if you can't come up with an answer instantly, we'll come back to you later. We've been asking if you could unite 2 characters from different worlds, different IPs with no problem and create a singular project. What 2 characters would you like to do? And then my example was, I've always wanted to see Sherlock Holmes have to team up with Batman to solve a mystery. But we'll start with my good buddy Steve, and then go in PTR order: Don, Gonzalo, and then Jarrell.
Hey, everybody, I'm Steve Bernstein, and I'm never quick, but I'll try to be. I'm a screenwriter and director. My new film, Last Call, is now actually available on Amazon in the US. I have a little screening party with Dawn down there. We'll tell you more about it on Tuesday at 5 o'clock in California. So I hope you all join me. I'll be doing kind of what Noah's doing a visual analysis of the whole movie, every decision I made as director. In fact, I hope, Noah, that you join us. Everybody else does. We'll just talk about that film and about film generally. I've done about 95 or 98 feature films and major television shows. I was a cinematographer for a while, shot the Oscar-winning Monster. I've got a book coming out about creative process.
Hey, Don, before you go, you skipped Jess earlier. Jess, go ahead and choose yourself.
Gonzalo.
My mashup would be James Bond and Inspector Clouseau. I think that would be fun to watch. This is Gonzalo, and I'm speaking.
Oh, I love that. It's the second time James Bond has come up. And just to reiterate again, the first letter in Gonzalo's name is G, which is a G sound. Jarrell?
Hey everyone, I'm Jarrell Odell. I'm a commercial director, a cinematographer, and a camera operator. I specialize in stabilization of cameras, camera movement with gimbals, and I am one of 30 owner-operators of the anti-gravity cam, which is a groundbreaking new technology in gimbal and camera support, whether you use the anti-gravity cam with a gimbal or without a gimbal for a stabilized handheld visual language. Let's see. So 2 characters. I don't know. You might have to come back to me for this because it's definitely something that is absolutely not on my radar. I do not ever kind of like daydream about mixing or creating 2 worlds out of, or 1 world out of 2 existing worlds. It's just generally not how my brain works. So I'm just a hard pass on that. Sorry, guys, but happy to be here.
No problem. No problem. Thanks, man. If you think of something, just chime in whenever. Okay, so we have 72 people watching the stream right now on my StreamYard account. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. But for those of you who just joined us, to view the broadcast, if you go to the link tree in my Instagram account and then go to our the first link, which is Fun Film, which will take you to the Fun with Filmmakers Facebook page. We're broadcasting live there. Again, actors, I'm going to ask you to unmute when it's your time to read and make sure that your device that you're watching the broadcast on is muted so we don't have the delay and the reverb. Are all the actors ready?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, and I wrote this in all of 2 seconds this morning. And I've already found like 9 grammar mistakes, so let's not judge the writing. Exterior, house in the valley, driveway, day. Meet Lily, an amoeba of a shipwreck of a human with an almost impossible amount of energy, randomness, and heart. Lush, lunatic, lawless. She pulls the last trash can to the end of the road. A car pulls into the driveway, avoiding a pothole. The driver steps out, shaking her head. Meet Thea, a type A personality, complete with a hardworking and no-nonsense attitude. Driven, determined, and devoted.
Who's unreliable now? What? I'm tired of your shit, Thea. You're always talking mad shit about how I ain't got no sense of responsibility or direction. Well, guess who got the cans to the road before almost everyone on the street? But Lily. No, but Lily. Lily's butt got out of bed and got the cans to the road, which I get might not be as glamorous as your achievements, but I too get shit done.
Lily, yesterday was trash day. People are bringing their trash in.
Lily looks around and sees neighbors are bringing their cans in.
Yo,
A young child steps out.
Mom, can I have garlic toast for breakfast?
No. Yes.
Okay, so that's the scene that we're going to break down. And if you're watching, I'm on the PDF version now, but I'm switching over to Final Draft.
Hey Noah.
Yes.
It's Sean. I'm looking at that page just to see what you got going on there, and taking up the majority of the screen is something that says Fun with Filmmakers on Fridays. Use code FUNFILM for 10%, and it's covering up all the rest of the stuff on there.
Oh, good. So let me turn off the overlay. How about that? How about now?
Let me try and refresh it and see if it goes away. I don't know if anybody else is seeing the same thing. Yeah, no, it went away.
Okay, cool.
Now you're good.
Alrighty, so I'm going to carefully pinch zoom so that I can. Oh, I said carefully, damn it. Work with me. Okay. So like I said earlier, the first thing you always want to do is to number your scenes. The way I start with that on, once I get hired, is to go into the production tab, which most screenwriters never use. I'm going to go down to scene numbers. I'm going to make sure that the format is 1 alpha colon 1 alpha 2 3. I'm going to make sure that the check mark number from current scene is done. I'm going to remove keep existing numbers. The only reason you would check that is if you are starting a new numbering sequence from a scene because you've adjusted the previous number. And you can leave this format here unchecked. The only reason you would want to use that is if you were numbering a different element other than slug lines, but we're not doing that. Also, make sure it's number renumber is the option that's selected, and then just click OK. So as you can see, there's now a 1 outside of our one scene page. And then, like I said before, if you're ever in a situation where you have 2 slug lines that are really a part of the same scene, and so you're going to marry those together, you would just go into production again, edit scene number, and change it to 1 alpha, whatever your sequences. You just want to make sure that everybody is on the same page because it's going to affect all of your departments. You want to make sure that when you're referencing a scene, everyone is using the same nomenclature. The same numbers get on the slate or clapboard. The same numbers go to post, DIT, the whole 9 yards. I'm going to change that back to 1. Doop. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Production, edit scene number. Production, scene numbers, remove numbers. Okay. Yes. Production, scene numbers, remove numbers. Okay. Yes. Then back to 1. All right. So at this point, that's not what I wanted you to do. I don't know why that one's there. At this point, the first thing I always do when it's a new screenplay is to go up to this navigator here and turn on the tags page so that pane opens. I'm going to go into the production tab one more time. Go into the scene and turn on tags mode. Okay, and then at this point, now this is the digital version of having your colored pencils and your highlighters. I'm going to go back into production one last time and check tag all characters. And what that's going to do is it's going to automatically tag all of the speaking characters in the first time that they are introduced. It's not going to tag the non-speaking characters. It's going to list the actor for each character as the name of the character, which is fine. That's important for the day out of days before we have cast attached. Once we have cast attached, we will change the actor name to the proper one. But for now, just for a placeholder, you want all of your speaking characters to be named as the actor of the character until we have actors in place. And then in this version, because of what Jess brought up earlier, I added the young child would have a friend, which is super important. There's 2 different ways to tag a non-speaking character. The way I prefer to do it is normally when I'm actually in the writing phase. But if you highlight friend, okay, your tags are going to come up. You can go down to cast members, and we're going to add a new tag as friend. Press tag, and then you'll see over here in your navigator pane that there are 4 tags in this scene as of right now. There's friend, Lily, Thea, and young child. And then young child was added afterwards because friend was added afterwards because that friend did not have dialogue and was not tagged from the tag all characters mode. To show you all the other way that you can do this, I'm going to turn off tagging mode. I'm going to go back to friend and highlight it. And then you can go down over to insert and then go down to non-speaking character. And it'll do the same thing. That's how you add it before you're into tagging mode. I'm going to go back, turn tagging mode back on. And go back to the top. And then now we're just going to go through the scene and tag our elements as we go. So from the top, we already know that as far as locations go, this is going to be a house in the valley. We need a house with a driveway, preferably a suburban type area, because we want to be able to see other neighbors taking their trash cans in. The first thing that pops out to me is the actual trash can itself, which is a prop, which is just short for properties, anything that an actor is going to be holding. And the way we tag that, you want to highlight trash can. You're going to go into your categories. You're going to scroll down until you get to props. And then I'm going to change it to trash cans. I'm going to put a number 3 to say they have 3 trash cans. And then hit tag. So now if we go back over into our navigator pane, we now have 5 elements tagged in this screen. We have the 4 characters and the trash cans. The next element that I see is the car. So we're going to need a production vehicle. We're going to want to make sure that our insurance covers the production vehicle. We're going to go, again, we're going to highlight car, go down to vehicles, add in the car, and then we see over here that it's been added to our elements. The next thing that I see that should be tagged, which is something that might get one of those elements that gets passed up a lot, is the pothole. So, that's might not be important for this scene now, but let's say in the second act, there's a moment where they have to pull into the driveway really quickly, and then the pothole causes something to spill in the car. So it's important for the story, which is the only reason that it's named now. We're going to tag pothole and go down to either scenic design or scenic design, set dressing, or art department. Again, that's one thing. It's one of those elements that could be considered under multiple different departments. But we're going to want to make sure that that it's at least tagged in one. And then, like I said, you can put it in all the departments. That way, when you're sending out emails and you're getting feedback during production meetings, at least everyone is aware of what's going on. And then if locations is going to take care of it because they're going to make sure that we get a location with a pothole, that's fine. If the art department is going to take care of it, they're going to actually create a pothole, that's fine. We just want to make sure that it's being taken care of. So we're only into like I don't know, 1/8 to 2/8 of the page, and we already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different elements tagged. And this is this version here. As you go through, I actually prefer, before I think it was Final Draft 9 or 10. JP, you can correct me. We used to use a program called Final Draft Tagger, where you would import the FDX file and use it. And I actually preferred Final Draft Tagger because it was just a different setup. And I don't know, I like the way that the elements were represented on the page. But as you're going,
it was faster for some things, but it was also kind of unreliable, so you'd have to like double check it.
Yeah, but I liked, and I'm figuring it out now, but like you in Final Draft Tagger, you could, as you create your elements, you could put how you wanted it to look in the shooting script, because I'm really specific when it comes to like underlining props, capitalizing sound effects, and just the way I run my productions. But in order to do that in Final Draft now, you have to remove a category and then add it. And then when you add the category, it'll ask you, what do you want the text color to be? Do you want it bold, italicized, underlined? Which is fine. I wish that you could do that like from the get-go. Okay, so then we have dialogue. Lily looks around, sees neighbors. All right, so we have neighbors. So what does that mean? We need background, right? We got to have background actors. How many neighbors are we going to have? Are they going to have trash cans? Are they going to be pulling in trash cans? If we just tag one neighbor, we're only going to have one neighbor. So what I'm going to do is we're going to say we have 4 neighbors. So I'm going to do neighbor 1, tag, come back in, highlight it again. Neighbor 2, tag, background. Three and 4. Tag. So now we know we need 4 background actors to play neighbors. And then I'm going to also add 4 trash cans. Props. TRASHCANS. And I'm going to copy that so I don't have to type it each time. 1. Props. Command V, 2. Props. Command V, 3. And 1 more. Neighbors, 4. So not neighbors. Command V. Tag. Okay. And then as far as I can tell, from the scene that we just did, these are all the elements that we need thus far. But before we move into movie magic, popcorn style, do we want to just talk about other things that we might need at this phase of the tagging, the lining of the screenplay? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that you would look for or have conversation about, I mean, we're not talking about in these action lines, but you would want to have a conversation with wardrobe about what everyone's wearing, so that the costumers know what they need to have on hand. That's one that leaps to mind for me.
Hey, Noah, I'd love to quickly jump in here. This is Yvette. Great stuff, by the way. One of the things, just going back to the tagging, because as you mentioned, Final Draft, really, they updated that in a very significant way with 10. Final Draft 10 was when they really implemented tagging into the overall application, as opposed to having like a third party.
Yep, tagger.
And yeah. So, but one of the things, in terms of really making the tagging efficient and effective is that, writers and, so writers themselves, they need to develop a system for tagging, going back to the script, not necessarily when they're writing it, but just even going back to the script after they've finished it. And for themselves, I think it's really important just to develop their own tagging kind of system, the things that they really would tag that they believe are important from a character perspective, props, whatever, even from an arc. I mean, you can tag anything. That writers themselves need to learn that process. Number one, I think that's important, which I don't think many writers actually do. And then because who knows the script better than the writer, and that's why I think it's important. And then number two, once you are working with a line producer or just a producer, that there is a conversation of tagging that needs to be had with a creator, especially if they have never done that or if they don't even know what tagging is. Because I just think that then you'll be able to catch so much more from the tags, as opposed to just the standard report that Final Draft puts out. But, tagging can be incredibly powerful, but you just have to know how to do it, number one. And also, just the types of different categories to tag. So I just really want to mention that because there is a learning process here that is really a necessary one, that in the end, that script will be so much better prepared
to then be broken down and broken down for a variety of different things. So this is Yvette. I just wanted to also mention that. Thank you.
No, absolutely. And my process when I come onto a project is after I've done this for the screenplay, I don't work in the budgeting and scheduling software until I've had at least an initial meeting with the department heads to go over what I've done thus far, because what you're going to end up doing is the same work over and over again in an incredibly inefficient manner. Because once you get it into the other software, you have to continually update the shooting script that is in the program, which doesn't always work perfectly. Like you still have to go through and make sure that everything translated properly, because the coding itself, it's just not a perfect system yet. And you should always check behind yourself every time you update the shooting script. So for that purpose only, one, in an ideal world, it would be preferable that it's obviously a locked screenplay that you're starting from. Does that mean that we're not going to have, rewrites the day before principal photography? Probably. You're going to have rewrites on set. What you want to have is locked of a possible screenplay at this phase, because it's just a lot of work that you're going to have to recreate and do again and again. So after I've gone through and done my initial tagging of the FDX file, I normally like to have a production meeting with the department heads. Hopefully they've all been hired by that point, and just go through each scene. And at that point, that's when you discuss like, oh, greenery is actually going to take care of this, and set design is going to take care of that, and the art department is going to take care of this, because there's going to be multiple items that can be taken care of by multiple departments. But you want to make sure that you don't have two departments working on the same thing just for efficiency's sake. Now, if they're tag teaming something, that's fine, but you just don't want, three different departments going to get sconces or something. Anything else, Maz, before we move into budgeting and scheduling?
You probably thought of another one, Noah. You're going to want to add prop plates for that vehicle.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
No, this is Yvette. I just wanted to lean into the point that you made, which is massive. It's really huge that there is, unless all the departments, are just initially speaking together or just coordinated at the very least by the, of course, line producer, and ideally the writer, if the writer is obviously still going to be part of the production, if they're a producer as well, that then in terms of tagging, where there is a system that is created so that everyone then understands exactly what the system is, as well as like the key, the legend of how the tagging breaks down, because that's what will diminish all of that redundancy and just exorbitant amount of work that is just repeated and again and again by different parties and done in different ways, which is inefficient and waste so much time if they're not speaking to each other. So I just really want to lean into that aspect of what you said, because it's just critically important and just will get everyone, pun intended, on the same page from the beginning. So this is Yvette. I'm done speaking. Thank you.
Yeah, and it goes back to, having the highest quality department heads as possible, especially on the lower budget productions, because just having at least one badass on a small crew for each department will just help you out for production and post, because you're just having someone that you can trust to do checks and checkbacks and all of that good stuff. Anything else, mods, before we move over into budgeting and scheduling? Going once, going twice. Okay, cool. So there's two programs, two pieces of software that are most commonly used when it comes to breakdowns, budgeting, and scheduling. Movie Magic is kind of the industry standard, and then there is the indie-friendly version, Gorilla. I use them both. My iMac has Movie Magic, and my laptop has Gorilla. We're going to be using Gorilla today just because I'm on my MacBook. But they're essentially the same interfaces. I think, honestly, there's a couple of functionality differences. I like the Koala call sheets are my most favorite, and you have to be using Gorilla in order to use those, which is a benefit for Gorilla. However, Entertainment Partners is tied into Movie Magic, which for the producers on stage makes life a lot easier when you can just send out payroll sheets, and Entertainment Partners takes care of the rest. Yeah, they're both essentially the same thing. But on the computer, I'm going to go into Gorilla. And before we have a budget, we have to have a schedule. Okay, the schedule is what everything else pins around. And the day out of days that I mentioned earlier is how we're going to generate using this program. But for our test scene today, I'm going to add a new project. I'm going to go to import final draft or Movie Magic screenwriter screenplays. I'm going to use FDX because I'm using, oh shit. Well, before we do this, you always want to make sure that you have saved your FDX file. And normally what I do after I've been sent the FDX file from the writer or the producer is I will go to Save As and change the title of the file to whatever the title is, and then either SS or shooting script, because it's going to change the way the actual PDF itself looks, and you always want to save the original literary version along with the shooting script. So I'm going to go to File, Save Again with the new title. I'm going to go back to Gorilla, import final draft.ftx. We're going to call this schedule test import. And you're going to navigate to wherever you saved that FDX file. And we're going to play the waiting music as it develops, as it imports. If it's a feature-length screenplay, it could take quite a while. Obviously, the more tags and the longer the page count, the longer it's going to take. But eventually, you get your breakdown, which this screen here is how we are going to develop everything. Gorilla automatically creates your page count length. For those of you that don't know, for production purposes, we always divide a screenplay into eighths. This is a full page, so it's just one. And you're going to estimate how long you think it's going to take for production to get the scene done, which is going to affect your budget as well as your schedule. For the purposes of production, I have a couple of rules. One, I never schedule any scene, even if it's only a 1/8 basically pickup shoot, for less than 1 hour. Because what you're not factoring into production normally is their setup. People have to arrive on set. You have to have your latecomers. You have to have G&E there a couple hours early to run distro from 2 blocks down because your locations manager forgot to tell you can't use the power at the house you're shooting at. So you have a generator 3 blocks away. They're running distro down. The trucks are being parked around the corner. All of that has to be factored into the time it takes to get one shot done. So I would never, like I said, one of my rules are just no matter how long the scene is or how many elements there are, never schedule it for less than an hour because you're just shooting yourself in the foot. And you're going to cause problems later on during production. And your first AD is going to yell at you. So I'm going to do 1 hour for this scene, 0 minutes. Normally the synopsis is already filled out with the first couple of lines of action. But what I do is I always go back and add in just, a little blurb about what's going on so that when we look at it, we go, oh yeah, it's that scene. So I'm just going to say that this is the driveway scene with 1 and 2. 2 drives a car in and parks while 1 pulls cans to the street. Again, you don't want it to be too long because it's going to show up in the little blocks. Your units are going to be named according to your UPM, whether you have a second unit, a first unit, or sometimes there will be variations. Like you only have 1 unit, but 1 unit is going to be using a Steadicam operator, and a couple other key positions are going to be switched for scheduling purposes. So you might call 1 unit Bravo unit, 1 unit Alpha, even though they're both first unit. Script day is specifically for what day in the story is it. So if it's let's just say that this is the first day of the script. We know it's going to go on breakdown sheet 1. It's alpha unit or first unit. And it's the driveway sequence. Again,
going to mention earlier, if there's a script supervisor on the show already, I like them to do their scene pages and their day breakdown, just so you don't have to go back in and do it. But a lot of times you don't have that opportunity. But every once in a while, I'll hire a friend to do a day breakdown, like you were just talking about, just so my ass is covered and I'm not just making random stuff up.
Absolutely, because again, it's not so important what the nomenclature is, but it's super important that it's the same across the board, because you'll have departments talking about different scenes and not realizing it, especially if it's a more grounded production, meaning there's few locations. So you want to be super specific with what sequence and what portion you're dealing with, so that we're not talking about 2 different things. You should already have imported locations into your program with your locations manager that has all the information as far as who the contacts are, where parking is, and things of that nature. The way you would do that is under your locations tab. You would add in all the information. Eventually, this will get populated as scenes are assigned to locations. Your map will generate. I'm just going to change that real quick so everyone doesn't know where I live. Yeah, you want to break down the hours for prep, anything that's needed for parking, electrical and sound. These will be generated, but you're going to want to check back and make sure that everything is correct as far as what the phases are. Speaking of which, as far as the schedule goes, we're going to go into shoot days and create a principal photography phase. For principal photography, I always want it to land on the first line and be in a red font. That's just, it doesn't really matter, but that's just how I like to do it. We're going to say that our shoot dates are September 7th is when our first day of principal photography is. I never start principal photography on a Monday, and I never want my weekends to be Saturday, Sunday. I try to do Sunday, Monday. I always want my cast and crew to be able to go to the bank if they need to. So I always set my weekends to be Sunday, Monday, if possible. But we're going to start September 7th. And it's a 4-week shoot, so 20 working days. Create. Sean, sing the Indiana Jones theme for us.
Yeah, I'm not much of a singer. You don't want me to do that.
Okay. And then once you're in your phase, I'm going to go into edit the shoot days, which I think is this one. Add modify shoot days. I'm going to go in, like I said, and make my days off be Sunday and Monday. Reset calendar. We're not pushing days because we're not into principal photography yet. But you just want to make sure that, again, everything is the way you set it up. You could add your producer, director, script soup, first AD, UPM, anyone that you want their information displayed at the top. You're going to want to put on this phase here. Click OK. Oh, shoot. Sunday, Monday. There we go. So now our days off are assigned like I talked about earlier. Again, you want to make sure that everyone's on board. Everyone likes to work in different ways. And like Sean and JP can tell you, you're going to work on your schedule to make it fit within your budget as harsh as possible. And then you're going to hand it to your first AD and they're going to say, screw you. And then they're going to make their own schedule based on the strip board that you created. But we're going to go, speaking of strip boards, we're going to go into our strip board and assign it to principal photography. We're going to put it's going to be day 1, which is 1/8 of a page. And estimated time is 1 hour. I'm going to change that to 8, just for this 8-hour workday. And then, like I said, you're going to do this for every scene. And this is just a streamlined version. But every decision has to be accounted for as far as the elements for production. And you want to make sure that all the departments are on board. They know what's going on. And that happens through production meetings. I know everyone has heard my mantra, films are made in prep. We screw them up on set, and then we try and fix them in post. But the more you put into prep, the easier your production is going to go, because we all know that Murphy's Law is nowhere more apparent than on a film set. So you want to have plan A, B, and C ready to go, and then be ready to adapt with a dynamite production crew. So you see now our strip board has been changed at the top to scheduled for 9/7. Okay. All right, so I'm going to reset the room real quick. Hey, everybody. This is Fun with Filmmakers on Fridays. My name is Noah. This is my room. I run every Friday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. And we pick a different topic every Friday and just kind of break it down for everyone and talk about it with a mod panel of subject matter experts. Again, it's not about bullying or harassment. We're here to discuss how we do it and hopefully spread some good information for everyone in the filmmaking community and for, aspiring producers, filmmakers, screenwriters, directors, the whole 9 yards. If you, right now we're broadcasting live on Twitch and our Facebook page. So if you go to my Instagram account, and then go to my link tree, you will see the link to the Fun with Filmmakers Facebook page, which is the first Fun Film link, as well as our Twitch account where we're broadcasting live. Yeah, so you can watch visually what we're doing as we talk through the program. For those of you that are just joining us, we've already gone through the final draft file and tagged the elements in the scene. We've imported them into Movie Magic and now, Gorilla. And now we're working on building out the schedule and the budget. So we've already discussed, getting the cast members into each scene, how important that is. You want to make sure that you have all the information filled out on your actors once they're cast and assigned, including their reps information, which will be under actors and crew. Okay, I'm just going to import a random cast and crew list real quick. Something that we should note when you are importing an FDX file into Movie Magic or Gorilla, they're going to separate the characters into all of their iterations. So that includes voiceover, if you have younger versions of the character, off camera designations. So you're going to want to make sure that you combine all of those roles into the same actor and or the same placeholder until you have actors attached. And as soon as this loads, I'll show you how you do that. Okay, so like for example, this is Jerry, an actor, and let's say that Jerry was going to play. Well, it doesn't work on this one because I don't have. Let's say that Jerry was playing a character, Theo, and there's also times that Theo is talking off camera. So it's Theo OC, and there's a younger version of him that he's voicing. Then you would want to add all of those roles under the same actor so that their total number of days is calculated correctly. And that's important for your day out of days, which is how you, what you're going to have to submit to SAG, as well as when you're building your budget. It's going to pull the days from that to calculate everyone's pay. And then we're not going to get into fringes today because that would take forever. Anything else I'm missing, mods, as far as at this phase of building out the schedule and importing the elements? Okay. If we had actors assigned at this point, what I would do, and we've already had a couple of production meetings where we have discussed the elements in each of the scenes and how we're going to accomplish those, and we've already gotten our vendor quotes and all of that good stuff. Then I would start working on on the schedule, which you would do through the strip board. Eventually you'll have several scenes, so you'll be moving the scene work down and making sure that you have a proper amount of pages and time allotted for those scenes per day. You want to make sure that if the scenes are set in the morning, they're earlier in the day. If they're night scenes, I try and schedule my night and late night scenes towards the end of the week. That way the cast and crew have their day off to reset before they have to come back and perform and or do their jobs the next day. And sometimes. Yeah, absolutely. I wish I had a better example to show a day out of days. Oh, I know what I can do. Okay, so eventually this is what it's going to kind of look like for your day out of days. And again, it's just going to go through and show you breakdown of your characters and the actors that play them, how many days they work, how many days they're held, what days they're scheduled for. And this is going to change. It's going to update as the production goes, because we'd like to meet our days every day, but it doesn't always happen. So we have to push scenes to other days. And as those change, then we go through and we have to update our day out of days to show when people are going to start work, when they're going to be finished. If their whole days are going to change. And you're going to want to do this for your principal cast, your U5s, and your extras, your background. And then from that, you will be building your budget. It'll calculate the amount of days for your cast and your crew, their day rates, and then import all of that into the budget, and then build it off of that. And then if for those cast members and crew members who are in the guilds and have pension and health that you have to worry about, those will be calculated based on the codes that you put into your schedule, which will calculate the percentages properly that you have to pay out to the guilds. And each guild has a different way you set those up with payroll. And again, they're calculated based upon the amount of days worked. And that's pretty much it on a superficial, not in-depth manner. Mods, am I missing anything that we can talk about before we end the room?
No, I think you got it, brother. This is amazing. This dual screen you got going.
I think you might have mentioned it, but did you say why you prefer Gorilla to like Movie Magic? Or
I honestly, they're both. I like both programs for different reasons. I like Movie Magic on tier 1 and tier 2 films because it's already tied into entertainment partners. The reports are a little better, but I don't care for the way Movie Magic does the call sheets. However, when you're on a tier 1, tier 2 film anyway, someone else is going to be doing the call sheet anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I like Gorilla if they're smaller productions because it takes less space. But the Gorilla reports can take forever to print out or to compose, if you will. I think Movie Magic is basically the industry standard. If you know one program, you know the other program. You do have to pay for both the budgeting side and the scheduling side for your licenses. Gorilla is much more indie friendly on the pricing side. Let me put it that way. So if you're just getting started and you're doing indie features, short films, commercials, music videos, I would suggest getting started in Gorilla unless you just want to bite the bullet and buy, pay for the license for Movie Magic. They both do essentially the same thing. JP, am I missing anything?
No, you can also team up with someone on the Movie Magic because I think you get
3 licenses.
4 licenses, right?
Yeah.
And so if you have another AD, a line producer friend, or 2, say, hey, you guys want to split this together, and each of you get one of the login codes. So that's how I do it with my business partner.
Yeah, and then I'm talking from a line producing standpoint, but if it's a production that I'm directing and also producing, I use a program called Shot Lister with my DP and my first AD, and we do our shots in it, and it builds a schedule that I recreate in Gorilla. And the reason I like doing it that way is because you can work with script notes, you can work with your actual setups, and it calculates your setups and how long it's going to take, and then you can build your schedule to match it. Because like I said, a lot of times line producers who are just getting started, or first ADs that are first getting started in the industry, they forget about prep time. They forget about things of that nature that are important and can affect the entire production, or they forget about turnaround, and all of those things you want to account for in when you're building your budget and your schedule, because when you forget or when you don't do it, it's going to cause major problems. Like I said, there's no place that's Murphy's Law is more apparent than a film set, and any producer can tell you that. But that's pretty much it, guys. I really appreciate it. I know this was a less exciting, smaller room, but it's super important for physical production and post, because it affects all the decisions made at this point affect everything. And that's pretty much it. Let me, mods, y'all want to add anything before I reread our sponsors again, and then we'll close the room?
Thank you for having this space, Noah. It's so important, and you just bring something else to Clubhouse that nobody else brings, and you just bring it with such heart and with such love, and you want to spread info and to help others. It's truly altruistic, and it's beautiful, and I adore you. So thank you for holding the space every week.
Well, thank you.
No, I'd like to quickly piggyback on Sam, and thank you. I'm so grateful that I chose to come into your room today. I have learned so much, and it's really valuable for myself, and I'm sure for everyone in the audience as well. Thank you so much, Noah, and I'll be definitely coming back.
Thank you. Yeah, piggybacking on everyone. Yeah, I think you're so cool and amazing, and I feel like I learned so much. I never even used the production tab in Final Draft, so now I can use that. So thank you.
No problem. No problem. I feel weird. All the compliments. Thank you, everyone. Again, today's room is brought to you by Boca Rentals. Boca Rentals is based in West LA. They're your premium production equipment rental house servicing the LA County area and cities all across the U.S. Boca is one of the greatest rental houses and the one that I personally use for all my productions west of Texas, and I'm using them on 2 films down in Mississippi. Boca takes pride in the reputation they've built with their clients. Please read their over 400 reviews. Please use the offer code FUNFILM for 10% off of your next G&E or camera package rental, and tell them I sent you. We're also brought to you by Film Tools. Film Tools is Hollywood's source for motion picture and digital video equipment, including grip and lighting to expendables. I personally use them constantly. For production supplies, Film Tools is the go-to destination for creatives looking to source production equipment such as camera support, the lighting, studio carts, grip, electrical, recordable media, hard drives, memory cards, audio equipment, and on-set expendables. They love what they do. They are a passionate company built by filmmakers, photographers, educators, animators, developers, and creative doers that love to share their experiences to help other customers achieve their goals. Please go to filmtools.com/fun-with-filmmakers and use the offer code FUNFILM for 10% off your order. We're also brought to you by the Canacity. Canacity is a line of high-end fashionable streetwear and accessories featured commissioned images, all focusing on one subject, the feminine spirit. I love them because they help out artists with release funds with portions of their proceeds from their entire streetwear line. With just contributing to the new reality. If we have to cover part of our faces, we might as well look sexy while we do it. Again, if you use the offer code FUNFILM, you'll get 20% off your amazing your order. Thank you all so much. That's it for today. I really appreciate everyone's time. Again, next Friday, we're going to be discussing short filmmaking, how to produce a truly professional short film, the different reasons for short films, whether it's a proof of concept or you want a calling card, or you just want to get together with buddies and make a thing, because we do that as well. Yeah, that'll be our subject next Friday. I look forward to seeing all of y'all then. Thanks, Fun Film Fam. I really appreciate it. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Noah.
Thanks, Noah.
Thanks, Noah.
Thank you. Bye.